When Jesus rose from prayer, he went back to his disciples. There he found them asleep from exhaustion.
Suddenly they were surrounded by a crowd who had been led to this place by Judas, one of the 12 disciples. In an ironic act of betrayal, he kissed Jesus on the cheek so that others could identify and seize him.
The angry crowd, comprised of chief priests, officers of the temple guard, and religious elders, led Jesus away. Taking him to the home of the high priest, Peter followed at a safe distance.
In a trial filled with deceit and mockery, the religious leaders were seeking evidence against Jesus so they can put him to death and rid themselves of this so-called prophet. Many testified falsely against him, but their statements did not agree.
Meanwhile, Peter had been approached in the high priest's courtyard, where he was quietly sitting. You were with him. You are one of this man's followers." The accusations directed at Peter prompted his immediate and vehement denials.
By the time morning arrived, the religious leaders had determined to put Jesus to death. They led him away and handed him over to Pilate, the governor for the region. It was the governor's custom at the Passover feast to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, a notorious prisoner named Barabbas was in custody.
When the crowd had gathered, Pilate asked them, "Which of these prisoners do you want me to release? Barabbas or Jesus, who is called the Christ?" The angry crowd, incited by the chief priests and religious elders, responded, "Release Barabbas! Crucify Jesus!"
Pilate resigned himself to the will of the people. He handed Jesus over to his soldiers, who took and flogged him, mockingly put a scarlet robe on his back, and placed a crown of thorns on his head. Then they led him away to be crucified.
Jesus, this one who had been sent as God's great gift of love to the world, now stood as an outcast, sentenced to death on a cross by the very people he had come to save.
Having been condemned to a criminal's death on a cross, Jesus was led to a place called Golgotha. 2 other men were placed on crosses on either side of him.
The soldiers, many in the crowd, and even the criminals alongside of him mocked and derided him. He saved others, but he can't save himself. Let him come down from the cross, and we will believe in him. Let God rescue him.
It was now about the 6th hour, and darkness came over the land. The curtain of the temple was torn in 2. Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And then he breathed his last.
In that moment, the words of the prophet Isaiah were fulfilled. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. He was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that made us whole, and with his stripes we are healed.
All we, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid upon him the iniquity of us all. This divine messenger of love had died for us.